This is day 2 from Edinburgh Comic Con 2016. Now today I've met up with an old friend, Keith Crawley. Now Ken was his dad, and together they have been making beautiful spaceships models since 1992.
Growing up with spaceships, watching Star Wars films, things like that, and I always wanted to have one of these as a kid. And so back in '92, I couldn't really build, but my dad could. He was used to making tables, so I got him to build the hull, and then I'd do the detailing. But of course, by the end of it, once we'd finished it, he had caught the bug, so he thought, I've got to do this as well. So after we'd done this, we went straight on to R2, and then we followed on with the dragons, and then we sort of finalised with the station itself. After that, my dad had had enough. Just too much, too big. So he went off to make clocks, and I continued on with the blockade runner.
They look absolutely marvelous, and the dragon's head actually is pretty spectacular. We should take a look. Okay, so Keith, you've made both dragons.
That was my father's work. He was more sort of the sculptor.
All right.
And I'm more the spaceship kind of person.
So how long does it take to make, this kind of work, which is so detailed, etc.? You know, how long?
Well, it all depends. I mean, this took maybe about 3 months.
Okay.
Usually these things take about 3 months because you've got a polystyrene core. You coat it in plasticine, and then you just sculpt it until it looks right. Then you have to build a mould, take a cast of it, and then once you've got the cast out, then you can spray paint it and that, and it can take knocks. So it's quite durable. It's fiberglass and resin. And the same with this one. Well, this one, my dad wanted to have a dragon popping out an egg. So he started with the head and then thought, I need to have the neck. And then he went further and further, and eventually the egg didn't even get done. Never got finished at all.
Right, so Babylon 5.
Yes.
Wow, it's rotating, it's active, it looks ready to float into space. So tell us, how did you go from step 1 to this?
Well, what it was is, both my dad and I were fans of the show, and we thought it'd be quite good fun, there's a word, to actually make a model of the station. And so what we've done was we got the technical manual, which has got a blueprint of the station itself. Got that blown up to A1 size, and then from that we started to build all the things. Now the thing is, the governing thing is this ball at the front. We get that determines the length of the station.
Oh.
And we looked at footballs, all those kind of things, and eventually we settled on a hamster ball, because it's absolutely perfect. It's made of plastic, and it's quite strong and durable. So that gave us 8.5 feet as the final length. So
that
we
is
basically
very long.
just started to build the main drum first, because we knew it would have to rotate. And we've got 2 ball races, obviously one near the front and one right at the back end, and that means it can turn smoothly. And once we'd done that, we had to get a steel beam for the spine to keep it so it wouldn't sag. I think my dad though had over-engineered it so it doesn't sag at all.
That's perfect.
And then obviously after that is the paint job, and that's the paint job from hell. If I die and go to hell, it'll be to paint this again, because honestly, it drove me nuts. In fact, at one point, my dad refused to build anymore until I'd painted more, and I refused to paint more until he built more. So after a few months, we realised nothing was going to happen. But thankfully, we got it done. But I didn't get this rotating, and then we're talking like the turn of the century when this got finished, 2001, 2002. And we didn't get it rotating until Friday.
Well,
and the guy came along, got the engine put in, the motor put in, got it rotating, and then we were straight up to the convention.
So that's about 16 years later, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for talking to us and explaining the process behind these beautiful sculptures, because they are actually work of art, so you should be really proud, and the crowd loves them.
Well, they do,
absolutely.
That's the thing, is that it's the buzz you get from people appreciating it. Even children, and they'll look at it and they're just wondering, how does that turn? So it's always quite good fun, absolutely.
Oh, this is fantastic. Listen, thank you so much
Thank
once
you
again.
so much.
And we'll see you at the next convention.
Yes, certainly.